Alright guys, we are working 10 variations of a guard and counter drill. Okay, so you'll get the idea as we get started. Round one, what we're working is jab and block on that lead side. Jab and block. Now Anne's doing this with me on the pads, but you can of course just shadow this or work this as a Dutch drill or as a sparring drill with a partner. The idea here is that we're throwing the jab out and then we're pulling that guard up to cover that lead side. Now make sure you're pulling that glove back and bringing it across over your ear. So the way I teach the kids this often is I tell them, imagine holding an over-ear headphone and placing it over your ear. That's just to make sure that their hand's getting in the right position. This way we're not getting clipped behind or around the ear when someone's throwing back at us. The important thing with all these drills is we're just working on a reflex of either punching and defending or defending and then throwing back, countering off of that. Okay, we're transitioning to drill 2. Here we're going with a 1-2 and then we're covering on that rear side. So on that side that we threw the cross from. 1-2 and then exactly the same principle of covering up over that ear and bringing the guard back across. Yeah, all too often people do what we call admiring their technique, where they hit someone, they throw a nice jab cross, but then they spend too long admiring it and they don't concentrate and pay attention to what's coming back at them. And they end up getting hit worse than what they gave. So this is a great drill for just reminding us to throw and then get our guard up and get our defenses working and then reset and work again. If you're working with your partner, obviously start slow and then pick up speed as you get it going. Okay, we're working on a bit of slipping now. So here we're jabbing and then we're slipping out with the back foot. Okay, now I'm not talking too much about stances, etc., because you might be a southpaw, you might be fighting someone a southpaw. In this instance, we are both working from right stance. All right, so she's throwing her jab with her lead and then she's stepping out with her back foot. Now on the first view, she was looking away a little bit. We've adjusted that now. So now as she's stepping out, she's trying to maintain eye contact. You have to look at your opponent. We need to see what's coming at us. So make sure that we're keeping that guard working as we're doing it. Hands up by the chin. And if you're doing it on the pad like we are here, the one that she's hitting is the one that I'm throwing at her. So I've matched her stance. And I just throw straight at. She steps out with that back foot and just takes her head off that center line position. Okay, very similar drill here. We're going with the 1-2 and we're slipping to the other side. So now we're using that front foot to step out and across, and we're making sure that that back arm guard is there just in case. Now again, we want to make sure that we are looking as we slip and avoid this. So you throw and you slip. Now obviously you can do this off of any technique, it doesn't have to be a jab cross. We're just keeping the technique simple here, focusing on that counter movement. The thing to be careful with all of these slips is not over exaggerating the turns and then making yourself vulnerable to follow up attacks after that. Just enough to get out of the way. Just enough. Make sure that we're keeping a nice wide base with the stance. Alright, on this one we're working on a roll and throw. So we are rolling under the hook and we're using that rotation, bang, to shoot that lead arm hook off onto it. So again, I'm matching her stance. We're going lead side to lead side. I'm throwing that lead hook. She's rolling away from the hook. So if you see where the hook comes, she rolls away, round and down. And then out of that full circle, she throws her own. We're throwing it to the body here in terms of her response. But of course, you could take that upstairs. But if you're coming underneath that guard from that lead hook, there's usually a good opportunity to catch them with the body shot. Now bending at the legs here, keeping the chest up, let the legs do the work as opposed to leaning over and making yourself vulnerable to an uppercut. Next drill, this is just a slip and fire. Here, all we're doing is we're leaning back, taking the weight onto the back foot and then coming back with our cross. So I'm feeding the jab. She's trying to rotate her shoulder, make sure that covers and takes it, and straight off of that shoots her back arm. We're not taking a step back in the sense of, if you see the distance between our front feet, that basically stays the same with the exception of maybe me moving in a little bit. We're trying to just move our target out of the way. They're trying to hit us in the head. We're just getting that head out of the way and then firing back with our big power shot straight down the pipe. We're practicing this closed stance, but this would work well open as well. So orthodox versus southpaw. Okay, now we're doing it with some footwork. So again, we've switched it up to a 1-2. Don't focus too much on what the punch techniques are here. Focus on the defense technique. So here, we're doing what we refer to as a pull push. She's pulling backwards and then she's pushing in with a technique of her own. Yeah, the pull refers to trying to get your opponent to come towards you by moving backwards, and the push is by trying to push forward into our opponent. So pull as they fire and then push back into range to fire your shots back yourself. You want to be light on your balls of your feet here, trying to avoid going flat-footed, maintaining a good guard, chin down, shoulders relaxed, guard up, and fire. You can practice this with any technique you want, as long as you got that footwork. Okay, back to a more basic defense here, but blocking both sides and then firing back. Making sure that our partners are keeping their guards up nice and high, and again just making those micro adjustments as shots come round and through. Block, block, fire, fire. This is a great drill to work with someone if they have a tendency to lower their arms as they're working, and especially doing this towards the end of the workout like me and Anne are here. It's great to remind them when they're tired that they might have a tendency to drop their arms. You can do this pushing forward, moving backwards. Just really focus on tight guard and a quick response time. Alright, here we're practicing what's called the long guard. So here, Anne is actually using her front arm to manipulate my guard and then feed her cross through, okay? Now, in most styles, we're not allowed to grab or pull a guard, but if your hands are clashing, we can manipulate that guard out of our way and set up the cross. So here, she's using my focus mitt to simulate my guard, and she's using her front arm nice and long, not only to move my guard out of the way, but as a measuring stick to set up that back arm. So she's measuring, setting, and then firing straight through with that cross. Long guard with the lead. You want to be nice and tough with it, nice and controlling. Boom. It's hard on the shoulders, so you can see the fatigue there, because we've got to keep those arms up. We've got to stay nice and strong. Alright, last drill here. We're now doing a bit of defense to the body. So we're defending that body shot, tucking our guard down and in, and then we're feeding back with a hook cross of our own. Boom, boom, boom. So it's a 3-part process. Notice that as that body shot comes to her, she tucks her body away, brings her arm down and in, and then it sets her up to throw that hook straight out and then counter rotate into that cross back upstairs. Block, hook, cross. Block, hook, cross. Good. All about timing. Don't react too early to it. Wait for them to throw that shot, commit to their body shot, and then feed back nice and quick, nice and sharp. Alright guys, this is the last drill, so take these home, work on them yourself, get them with a partner, shadow spar with them, and see if you can add some of your own. See you next time.